Ever tried to grab concert tickets the moment they drop, only to find they're just gone? Or maybe you've been scrambling for a last-minute hotel room on a holiday weekend and come up completely empty. You know that feeling, right? Well, that frustrating experience actually has a name. It's a shortage. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the economics of a shortage, what it is, why it happens, and how the market has this really powerful built-in way of fixing it. So let's get into the mechanics.
All right, let's dive right in with a really precise definition. As future managers, you're going to run into out-of-stock situations all the time. But it is so important to understand that this isn't just some supply chain problem. It's a very specific economic condition, and it has a clear cause that you can actually diagnose and, even fix. So here's the absolute key. A shortage is, at its core, a pricing problem. It isn't that there's an absolute lack of stuff in the world. It's a mismatch that happens at a very specific price. See, the price is sending out the wrong signals. To producers, it's whispering, nah, no need to make more. And to consumers, it's yelling, hey, this is a bargain. When you see people queuing up, as a manager, that's your giant red flag. The market is literally screaming at you that you're leaving cash on the table because your price is way below equilibrium, that sweet spot where supply and demand would normally just shake hands and agree. And this right here is the simple mathematical truth of a shortage. As you can see, the scales are tipped, way tipped. The quantity people want just completely outweighs the quantity available at that price. This imbalance is what we economists call excess demand. Now, from a business point of view, this is what fuels all sorts of weird competition. When you can't get what you want by paying the price, what do? You start competing in other ways. You wait in line for hours, you call a dozen different agents, and all of that is just wildly inefficient for everybody involved. Okay, so that's the theory. Let's ground this in a real-world business case. Formulas are great, but seeing how this all plays out with actual numbers in a service industry, like hotels, really makes the strategic side of this click.
So here's our scenario. Picture this. It's a long holiday weekend, so you know there's going to be a huge surge in demand for hotel rooms. The critical mistake here, a total failure of dynamic pricing. The hotels are stuck using their static, off-peak, sleepy weekday price list when the market conditions have completely changed. For any manager today, that is a massive strategic blunder. You're not just underpricing your product, you are failing to manage your yield, and you are just throwing away revenue when demand is literally knocking down your door.
And wow, this chart just puts the scale of that mistake into stark relief. The demand is for 1,000 rooms, 1,000. But at this artificially low price, the quantity the hotels are willing to supply is only 200. That's a 5-to-1 ratio of demand to supply. This isn't a tiny miscalculation. It's a huge market disequilibrium. And it's creating a massive operational crisis and, frankly, a customer service nightmare for these hotels. So, the precise size of our shortage is 800 rooms. Think about that from a business perspective. For every single customer you make happy, you are making 4 others angry and disappointed. That number, 800, represents the total value of all that unmet demand. It's the mountain of cash, the revenue opportunity that these hotels are completely failing to capture because of a bad pricing strategy. And this is what that 800-room gap looks like on the ground. It's chaos. Your front desk staff is totally overwhelmed. Your phone lines are jammed. But look closer. From an economic standpoint, look at that last bullet point. People are bidding up the price. They are creating their own secondary market. By offering to pay more, they're showing their true willingness to pay. It becomes an informal auction right there in your lobby. Suddenly, the hotel's official price is completely irrelevant, and you, the manager, have lost all control of the transaction. So you've got this total mess on your hands, this operational and economic chaos. How in the world does it get fixed? Well, this is the cool part. The market has this incredibly powerful self-correcting mechanism, and it all comes back to adjusting the one thing that was wrong in the first place, the price. The hotel managers, hopefully, start to notice these signals, the long lines, the phones ringing off the hook, the desperate customers offering more money. A smart, rational manager sees these things not as problems, but as data. This data is screaming that the current price is way below the market clearing price, so the only logical response is to raise the price. And you're not just doing it to be greedy, you're doing it to restore order and to allocate your scarce rooms in the most efficient way possible. And here is the truly elegant part of how the market works. As the price goes up, it solves the problem from 2 directions at once. On the buyer side, as prices rise, some people say, you know what, that's too rich for my blood, I'm out. That's a movement up along the demand curve. Higher price, lower quantity demanded. But at the same time, on the supply side, that higher price is a beautiful signal of profit. It motivates hotels to increase the quantity they're supplying. Maybe they rush to finish cleaning a few rooms that weren't ready or open up that emergency-only wing. This shows you the price elasticity of supply. Even with a technically fixed number of rooms, the available supply can actually go up when the price is right.
So let's just walk through that sequence again, step by step. First, the price starts to rise because there's just way too much demand. Second, that higher price starts to weed people out. Demand decreases. Third, at the exact same time, it encourages hotels to find more rooms to sell. Supply increases. And this dance between price, demand, and supply continues until, bam, step 4. We hit that magic point where the number of people who want a room perfectly matches the number of rooms available. The shortage is gone. The market has found its new, stable equilibrium.
So let's boil this whole story down. What's the big lesson here? For any student of business, what is the fundamental takeaway you need to understand about the incredible power of price? Ultimately, what we see is that a price is so much more than a number on a tag. It's a dynamic, living information system. It's a signal. It communicates what we, the consumers, desire to the people who produce things. And it communicates the reality of scarcity back to us. When prices are allowed to move freely and respond to the market, they are the single most efficient tool we have for allocating scarce resources. They solve these huge imbalances, like shortages, without anyone needing to be in charge. And that brings us to our final, and maybe most critical, question. We've seen how a flexible, rising price is the cure for a shortage. But what happens if something, say a government regulation, or even a company's own rigid policy, forces that price to stay artificially low? Well, the economic forces don't just vanish. The shortage doesn't go away. It just becomes permanent. And that's when you get things like black markets or long-term rationing. And that is a crucial lesson for any manager or policymaker to remember.